So over the course of this video, we are going to display a little bit of the rallies that Zach and I got into testing these rackets. So first up is the Head Prestige Tour. This Prestige Tour is 18 by 19 on the stringing pattern. It's got a 99 square inch head, 11.4 ounces strung, and 4 points headlight apparently. Stiffness rating of 65 with a swing weight of 326. So first off the bat, I could feel that I had some good control. The feel on this racket was nice. We currently have GoPro Tennis's string job on it. This is where we demoed the racket. It's got RPM blast on the mains, and on the crosses we got some nylon, some synthetic gut. So the RPM blast is a poly monofilament. The combination of the two felt pretty good on this one. It felt like I had a lot of control over my strokes. It felt like I had a lot of, let's say, swing amnesty on it. Whether if I swing too hard with this combination of strings and the racket, the way it was built, it was simple to keep the ball in play. Whenever it came down to head velocity, like the actual racket head speed that I could produce through it, is pretty similar to the Babolat Pure Strike Tour. But overall, I felt like the Pure Strike Tour was more of a swinger's racket, more of like a head-heavy, mass-generating, plowing through the ball type of feel compared to this one. If you aren't disciplined with your strokes and you're not actually able to hit properly, the Pure Strike will make you pay for that. But this one, there was definitely some type of leverage and leeway that you can negotiate with this racket compared to the Strike Tour. So two different rackets in my book. I mean, this is more of a pusher's racket. Intermediate to advanced can play with it. Really, let alone, I would say that advanced and above advanced would probably play with the Babolat Strike Tour more than this one. But here's Zach hitting with it. There he is cranking on some. So over here we switched over to the Babolat Strike. So the Strike does display more head speed, has more power, but it feels like it has less control. On that one, we have a 16 by 19 stringing pattern, which is actually surprising. 16 by 19 is supposed to produce more spin, more power, less control conventionally versus a closed stringing pattern like an 18 by 20, for example. So that's one thing about Yonex too. Yonex seems like they're producing some rackets out there that actually have a mixture of both worlds, like 16 by 20 stringing patterns. So I have yet to actually play with them since like 2005, but these are pretty well built rackets, these Tours. These are weighted heavily as a trim on the Babolat Strike line. This is going to generate a lot more plow through the ball. I felt like I was losing a little bit of control whenever I was able to let it loose and swing a little bit harder. Me and Zach are both swinging at about 60 to 70% in this. Not really getting low much at all. This was a long day after we played on clay courts throughout the day, and then at the nighttime we did 2 days, and here we go playing at our apartment's tennis court. But I mean, overall, if I would have to compare the two, the Strike lacks substantially in maneuverability compared to the Prestige. It also lacks in touch and feel to me. I've understood after hitting some volleys with it, I know it's not in the video, but after hitting some volleys with it, I wasn't actually able to use touch on my volleys. It was kind of challenging and difficult to actually understand what the stability of like where I could actually put those balls. It felt like the head heaviness natured of the racket, being a baseline hitter's type of frame and racket, I feel hindered me at the net compared to the Prestige. The Prestige felt a lot more comfortable and a lot better at finishing touch shots at the net compared to just plowing through the ball when you finish at the net with the Strike Tour. That's why I recommend the Strike Tour for people who have more advanced strokes. They're very disciplined. They know what they're doing. This is more of a racket for those types of people. The Prestige, whenever it comes down to it, I feel like that normal baseline play and overall rounded shots, picking up the ball on half volleys, and swinging full swings are two completely different things on this one. So whenever you have a little bit of looseness, maybe some fatigue starting to set in, you will start to see that it is more of a forgiving player's racket. It's going to save you more whenever you are playing and you're trying to just get that ball back. But with the strike, it just felt that it was kind of a thud. And I know I keep on mentioning this head heavy feeling with the strike. I'm hitting it with it here. It's got a more head heavy feeling than the Prestige Tour does in general. The Strike Tour is everything's starting to migrate, I believe, to a headlight structure because of how fast you really need to swing in today's tennis compared to the olden days. I mean, this Babolat Strike Tour is going to be X amount of points headlight, but whenever it comes down to it, the old style rackets, I mean, gosh, you're talking about super heavy rackets, especially on the heads. Like I grew up head heavy, playing with different types of Babolats. So, and then my first experience was a handle heavy K-Factor and the N code line, and I started to like those, so I migrated over to those. But yeah, this strike, it's a nice racket. Again, recommend it for advanced players. Whenever it comes down to intermediate players, players that don't really have full swings, they try to block the ball back a good bit. That Prestige is going to lack in power, but it's going to provide overall comfort way more for a player that is intermediate compared to this strike. This strike is going to make you hit the ball out more whenever you come up to the net if you're not finishing properly. If you try to use top, it's going to push the ball a little bit more than how you're going to think it's actually going to come off the racket. But let's see, for about $230, Prestige Tour is going to top it on the price, and that's as of September 2020. Good year. So yeah, the strike, speaking of 2020, is going to be $220. And just about every racket's going to run you that much in today's time. So, yep, I kept an eye out for you guys on this one. Gave you a little bit more of the attributes of how everything hits and handles and how you can power your way through playing with these rackets. So thanks for watching.